Hello everyone, it's that time again when I black the hull of my boat. This is something that is recommended to be done every 2 or 3 years. I last did mine 3 years ago, so it is time for me to do it again. I'm fortunate on this occasion because I will have Sally helping me. That should make it twice as quick, I think, but I doubt it. Apart from blacking the hull, I also want to touch up the paint on the gunnels, and I'll be looking at the tunnel stripes I put on 3 years ago and see if they need a freshen up as well. I'll be able to wash them down, of course, and then tell whether they need any extra work on them. Behind me, a boat is being washed down. There are 2 boats coming out today. So I'll catch up with you a bit later. I will be showing some of the process of being floated onto the trailer. There's a trailer which is towed by a tractor, and I will be showing that process, and I hope you're going to enjoy watching this episode. I'm Alan. I own a 45-foot narrowboat, have an interest in industrial heritage, transport and technology, and invite you to join me as I cruise, repair and maintain my boat and visit events and places of historic interest. The boat is going to be taken out of the water using the hydraulic trailer and parked on the hardstand, where the hull will be thoroughly cleaned using a pressure washer to remove 3 years of dirt, algae and any other aquatic organisms that may be present.
No time was wasted once the boat was out of the water to start with the washing down. This is being done by Gary. He's doing a cracking job. He's done one side already. He certainly doesn't hang about. That's good, because soon I'll be blacking the underside of the boat, just on this side here. Whilst it's on the trailer, it's a lot easier to do.
I'm just waiting for the boat to dry off a bit, or quite a lot actually, because whilst the boat is on the trailer, I'm going to do this area here under the counter. It does make it a lot easier whilst the boat is elevated to get under there and do that. Let me just show you. So I'll be doing this area here around the swim as well. Blacking the hull provides a protective coating which helps prevent damage from rust, pitting, rubbing when passing through locks, for example, or contact with other boats and canal banks, and generally extends the life of the hull. I'm ready now to start the blacking operation. I'm going to be working on the underside of the boat at the back here, as I explained earlier. I'm using a specialist black bituminous paint designed for hull blacking. This is some old blacking that I had left over from last time, and it looks absolutely fine. I'm applying the blacking here with a paintbrush and a 4-inch foam roller. Then my technique changes when dealing with the sides of the boat. I'm getting on quite well. Oops. Oh dear, the roller keeps falling off, unfortunately. These are sacrificial anodes, which tend to be made of an alloy such as zinc or sometimes aluminium. They are attached to a steel structure like a boat's hull to protect it against corrosion. The anode will be consumed instead of the metal it is protecting. Here we can see one which is severely corroded and its replacement which is still in good condition. I've got one more little bit to do under here, then the swim and underside of the counter is done. I've still got to deal with the rudder and I'll do that in a moment. I am in a mess. The actual rollers, or the roller sleeves, the actual roller sleeves are separating from the bit that makes them roll. So the two parts are coming apart. So that's made it very awkward. So I'm just going to finish this little bit here. Just under here I've got a bit to do. I'm now ready to paint the rudder. Once I've done that, the boat will be moved to its resting place behind me, where we will finish blacking it during the week and deal with the paintwork on the gunnels as well. Rain is expected a bit later, and tomorrow is going to be a wet day, so I don't know how much we'll do tomorrow, but we're here until next Monday. I don't think I actually mentioned it was Monday, but it is Monday and we're here for a whole week. It's much easier when you can see what you're doing. I understand there's an issue with one of the tractor tyres and this tyre van has just come to sort it out. Anyway, I've got on reasonably well. It is hard working underneath. I couldn't find my usual kneeler and I've been using a little square that is soft and I've been kneeling on that, but I haven't been able to kneel down with two knees. It's just not possible. I've got myself in a right mess. It's been very difficult to film. Both my gloves were being stuck together with the bitumen. The roller ends were coming off. The actual rollers were separating. So the inner part of the roller that goes onto the roller handle was separating from the outer part, and it kept falling off into the water. There's water down here on the ground. It's been an absolute nightmare. But the first part of the operation is done, so I'm pleased about that. I'm not sure now when we'll be moving the boat, because if there's an issue with the tractor, we're going to have to wait for that to be done. But I'll keep you informed and you'll soon see when we do move. Well, that's the boat move done. We're all ready now for the rest of the week. The guys are just getting the ladder for us.
Yeah.
And there we have it. Steps. Wonderful.
We've not been getting the sort of weather we had hoped for. When I did this job 3 years ago, the weather was fine. As I said yesterday, today was expected to rain. It rained all night, it's rained all morning. It's very windy, it's very cold, hence the headgear. We are going to crack on now. The boat is dry. There may be some rain a little bit later, but we want to try and get as much done today as we can. I won't be doing a lot of filming, it's very, very difficult, but I will show you our progress as best I can do so. Yesterday, late evening, I did do some rubbing down along the gunnels and at the back of the boat. I must say the red tunnel stripe at the back hasn't fared very well, and there's a lot of repair work to be done on that. But we have made a start on the, good Lord. I became aware that to my right there was some movement. When I turned around, there were 2 hares there, but I couldn't catch them on film, unfortunately. I was saying about the tunnel stripes at the back, and particularly the red one, hasn't fared very well, so there is some work to be done on that. But I've got Sally here with me. We're going to crack on now and hopefully get this side of the boat done.
We're just going to start the blacking now. We had to come in, it did try and rain a little bit. We sort of gave up, but we're here now. It's very, very windy. We're going to crack on and we'll catch up with you a little bit later. We're getting on quite well. We're getting on very well. We've just moved the steps away from the boat so we can get in behind, and Sally is busy doing her bit along there, and I will continue with my bit along here. Well, it all looks as though it's all done there, doesn't it? There is some here to be done, look. I'm doing this bit at the moment. It just started to rain. Oh, I can take these off, I think. Put these down for the moment. It just started to rain as we were finishing off. It got very grey indeed. There are blue skies ahead of me. We have done one side, so we're pleased to have achieved that. I've been fraught with problems again with this roller. Yesterday I was using a 4-inch foam roller, and the foam was detaching from the part that fixes it on to the actual roller. Today this keeps coming loose here, so I had to keep attaching this to that. It's not easy to get that back on there, and the handle is very loose as well. It's ridiculous, it just flails around. So it hasn't been an easy task today, but we are pleased, as I say, with what we've achieved. That's it for today. Tomorrow is going to be another wet day. It is very bright, I think, first thing in the morning, or dry I should say, for a few hours, but I'm not sure we're going to be up at the crack of dawn. Oh, some water's just pouring out the side here. Rather took me by surprise. I've lost my train of thought now. That water pouring out like that, it's really... yeah, so I'm not really sure what will be happening tomorrow until tomorrow comes. Catch up with you then. Bye for the moment. Good morning, it's Wednesday, the sun is out. We have a few hours of dry weather. Rain is expected about lunchtime. I'm going to start today by rubbing down along here on the gunnels. I'll be using my orbital sander. When I did the other side, I used a 180 grit. On this occasion, I'm going to use something a little bit grittier, a 120, and see how I get on with that. So the plan is to work down this side, then wash it all down. I want to wash down both sides. The cabin sides are rather dirty from the wash down the other day. Want to clean those up and get these primed, or not primed, but I'm going to put red oxide primer. Well, it is primer, isn't it? I'm going to put red oxide primer on the areas like this which need it, ready for painting. This is my 120 sanding disc. This goes on here. I try and get the holes to line up. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. My next plan was to use the red oxide primer to touch in along the gunnels, but unfortunately my tin of primer has gone off, so I'm going to have to nip out and buy some more. So for the time being I'm going to carry on with some blacking around the edges, so I don't want to lose any time. We are expecting some rain later in the day. I've just done a short length of blacking along here. Using a brush actually gives very good coverage, far better than a roller. This is just a touching in brush really, but I've got on very well with it. So I'm pleased with that. We will carry on after a cup of coffee and finish this side of the boat. After I last spoke to you, it started to rain. It wasn't much to start with, but it was soon quite ferocious, and it came much quicker than expected. It was about 2 hours before it was due. The weather forecasts are so unreliable at the moment. It's pretty much set in for today. Tomorrow, which will be Thursday and Friday, we are promised dry, warm weather, and I certainly hope to be able to crack on then. Given that I couldn't work outside whilst it was wet, I did another little job. I had intended to change the stone gland packing, so I decided I'd look at that. It's something I've never done before. The packing is around the propeller shaft, and whilst it's a job that can be done when the boat is in the water, I'd rather not attempt that myself. I didn't actually know for certain that the packing needed renewing. I've had the boat for 6 years, and I believe it was done 4 or 5 years before that. I do remember seeing a receipt for it, but I just can't remember how long before I bought it was. I didn't intend to film that, it's very difficult when you're working in the engine bay, but I did take some photos. The stone gland packing, together with the grease that goes into the packing, help keep the boat watertight where the propeller shaft passes through into the water. That packing can wear out and need replacing. And basically I just wanted to see whether it needed replacing, and I'm pleased to say that it didn't. There's a slider that keeps the packing in place. and that itself is held firm by 2 nuts and 2 lock nuts, and you tighten those up and you tighten it against the packing. Not over tight, you just tighten it sufficiently so the slider is against the packing. It's a sort of collar arrangement that goes around the prop. So I've taken that off, I've sort of withdrawn it if you like. I undid the lock nuts and the other 2 nuts. I withdrew the slider, and that allowed me to examine the packing. And first of all I just prodded around, and I could tell it was very firm. And then I looked with a torch and a mirror. Very, very difficult to take a picture of it, but I could see it was in very good condition. So I've left it alone and put it all back together. We just had a bit of a downpour. I'm going to leave this episode here for now, but I thought you might like to see the packing that goes around the prop shaft to make it watertight. This is densely braided cotton impregnated with graphite and other minerals, and you take this and you wrap it around the prop shaft like this, and you make an incision across there. Then you unwrap it, and between your incision marks you know the exact length that you need to go around the prop shaft. You tend to use 2 or 3 of these, maybe more on some boats, and you push them in so that the joints are not in line with each other. That helps keep it watertight. You then use your stern gland greaser to pump in a waterproof grease which covers this, and as the propeller shaft turns, that grease will get spread around it and make a watertight joint from the outside to the inside. That's what you hope anyway, but I thought that might be of interest. You tend to buy this, I think, in lengths of about 1 metre, and I just wanted to check that this was in good condition. I could only see the outer ring when I was looking, but it looked very good to me, and I'm happy that all is well down there. Whilst I'm talking to you, I'd like to thank Dean and Claire for sending me this lovely plaque. It was sent to me at Easter time when I was away, so it was probably a week or 2 later when I actually collected it from the Marina office. But this is fantastic. Thank you so very much for letting me have this. And they sent me a nice little note as well. Dear Alan, happy Easter. Handmade gift from a subscriber. My wife and I have watched every vlog. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so very much. You keep us entertained. Glad to see you have found happiness, from Dean and Claire. That is wonderful. Thank you. It means a great deal to me. I'm very appreciative for what you've done in making this for me. I need to find somewhere to display it, and I will treasure it forever. So thank you very, very much. All that remains for me to do and say is to thank everyone for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Until next time, look after yourselves, your friends and families. Take the utmost care in whatever you're doing. Bye for now. Take care, everyone. Bye.